engine.
The stories today, 36-year-old Chuck Bound, the current Grand National point leader. Dominant early in the year, but hoping to pick up his first win. Jimmy Hensley, the veteran driver, has already won once on the Speedway this year. Would like to make it a second Speedway win on a 1-mile racetrack. But the youngster everyone is talking about, 27-year-old Gaston, Alabama driver Steve Grissom, currently fourth in the points. He'll be in it today. Stay tuned. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Just off U.S. Route 13, north of Dover, Delaware, lies a track they call the Monster Mile, a 1-mile high-bank super speedway known for its wide, sweeping turns and great side-by-side racing. It is host for today's Busch Grand National Series Ames SplitFire 200. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with two-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett. And Ned, a month ago, we did not have a points race in Busch Series racing. Chuck Bound was so strong early on, winning 6 times on the short tracks. But now Steve Grissom has made a move. He's in fourth in the points, and the veteran Jimmy Hensley making his charge.
Now, Jimmy Hensley has chopped off more than 100 points off of the 365-point lead that Chuck Bound had just 3 races ago. So now it's at 259, and there are 5 races remaining, including today's race, which will be a very critical race for both of those drivers. But I think the race is coming up, Jerry, favor Jimmy Hensley. Since Bound's 6 wins came on short tracks, there are none of those kind of races left, even though Martinsville, Virginia is a half-a-mile track, but that's Jimmy Hensley's home track, and he always runs well there. So he's got to put his guard up and be out there charging, try to get as many points as he can, because Jimmy Hensley's coming after him.
Indeed, Jimmy's coming, but today they'll have to contend with a lot of Winston Cup drivers, and it's a super speedway. Normally the speedways are the bastion of the Winston Cup veterans with all their experience. That may not be the case today. How about it, Benny Parsons?
Sure, that certainly isn't the case. Used to when the Winston Cup drivers came here, they were guaranteed almost to start in the top 10. Listen to where the Winston Cup drivers are starting today. 3rd, 6th, 12th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, 27th, 30th. These Busch Grand National drivers have figured out these big tracks. They have no advantage. It's going to be a great race between Busch drivers and Winston Cup drivers.
It should be a great race, Benny Parsons, and of course a lot of the younger drivers in the Busch Series regular starting up front. Let's take a look at the Sears diehard starting grid. Row 1, the veteran Tommy Ellis, a new track record in qualifying. He is flanked by the youngster Bobby Labonte. Row 2, Harry Gant, who's led more laps here than anyone else, along with a man making his first Speedway start, another Bodine. This one's Todd. Back to row 3. Robert Presley. Now watch this young man. He has come from a racing family as a great crew chief. Sterling Marlin, the Winston Cup veteran, outside of row 3. Row 4, last year's Rookie of the Year, Kenny Wallace. And the man with the hot hand, 2 wins in the last 3 starts, Rick Mast. Back to row 5. Dana Patton, a good effort for this driver from up north. Dave Maynard, the 3rd, coming on strong here in substitute role for the car number 56. Row 6, Tommy Houston, the veteran driver, along with Winston Cup campaigner Kenny Schrader. Back to row 7, Bobby Moon and Bobby Hamilton. Row 8, Elton Sawyer. And the man we talked about, the youngster Steve Grissom, currently 4th in the point standings. Row 9, Jimmy Hensley and Chuck Bound. That's the point battle. 1st and 2nd starting inside and outside of row 9. And back to row 10, the man who was so strong at Darlington just a week or so ago, Mark Martin, along with an up-and-coming driver, Dave Resendez. We look at the rest of the starting field, Ned Jarrett. A lot of experience back in the pack. Your son Dale back there, Greg Sachs and others. Jimmy Spencer now driving for the car number 75. You know, it's an unbelievable field when you have that much experience starting in the back of the pack.
Well, it is, and I think it'll make for some exciting racing, especially in the early part of the event here, Jerry. But as Benny Parsons mentioned, these Busch Grand National regulars have caught up to the Winston Cup drivers now, and this is not quite as much of a driver's track as, say, Darlington, and the experience don't mean quite as much here. And I think we'll see the Busch Grand National drivers give a good account of themselves today. I think one driver in Winston Cup that we'll need to watch way back in the pack there is Mark Martin, the only Ford in the field. He will be strong, even though he's starting far back.
Getting set for the green flag. They're holding up one finger. Next time by, we'll have the green flag as the safety car leads him around. Tommy Ellis in the car number 99, the 1988 Busch Grand National Series champion. He has won once this year up on the 1-mile track in Loudon, New Hampshire. Had a great run up there.
Jerry, Jerry, he has dominated in several other races, including one at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where he led 199.5 laps and ran out of gas coming around to get the checkered flag. So he wants to prove that his win in New Hampshire was not a fluke. It was on a 1-mile racetrack, his first super speedway victory. So Tommy Ellis is pumped up for this race here today, trying to impress his sponsor, Goo Goo Candy Clusters Candy Bars, to hope that they'll stay with him again next year.
Tommy Ellis would certainly like to get a good run here today, and a young man who knows that this track can be awfully good for first-time winners. That is Bobby Labonte outside the front row. Labonte sat on the pole here back in the spring. He remembers that a few years back, a young man by the name of Rick Mass came here in the spring and sat on the pole, and came back in the fall and picked up his first ever Busch Series win. It could happen again, and this time it could be Bobby Labonte. Getting set for the green flag is a safety car now coming out of turn 4. A nice crowd on hand as they stand and wave and cheer for their favorite Busch Series driver. Pete Bass waves the green flag, and we're underway at the Monster Mile. Comes charging down the 1,000-mile back straightaway. Harry Gant wasting no time, tries to dip beneath Bobby Labonte, but has to fall back in single file out of turn 4.
Well, that was a gutsy move by Bobby Labonte, staying on the outside there, but he drove it deep into the turn and it worked for him.
Trouble up in turn 4. Ron Lamell Jr. has spun the car number 98 around. He loops it around, and apparently heavy traffic and some contact up there. There's the car number 98, one of the Busch Grand National North Series.
And apparently no caution, because he's rolling again and no one else was involved there, so no caution. Continue to race.
Well, he will get his car refired. He'll have to hustle because the leaders are coming after him. Let's take a look and see what happened then.
It looks like he got tapped by the 75 car being driven by Jimmy Spencer as they came off of turn 4. And it sent him down on the inside on the flat part of the racetrack, but it looks like no damage was done.
Well, he lost a lot of valuable time. He will not lose a lap. The leaders are about a half a straightaway behind him as Tommy Ellis now picking up where he left off in qualifying, setting a new track record at 144.289 miles per hour. And he has the Goo Goo Clusters Buick at the point of the field. Labonte, the Penrose Sausages Oldsmobile, the car number 44. He's the youngster, 26 years of age, and yes, the younger brother of Winston Cup champion, former Winston Cup champion, Terry Labonte.
You know, the fellow that I talked about, Mark Martin, looks like he is off the pace in the Ford going into turn 3. He might have just slipped, but he certainly was slow going down the backstretch. And one car already in the pit is Ward Burton, car number 85. They're pushing his car behind the wall. He has a burned piston.
And we understand from some of our spotters, it sounds like the Martin Martin car is sputtering a little bit. There is Martin Martin, who ran so well at Darlington. Remember, just a couple of weeks ago, NASCAR legalized some of the new parts for the Ford V6, and has made that V6 fairly competitive. Don Kowalski out of Lynchburg, Virginia, building the potent power plants in that Bill Davis car, but he is certainly not running up to par right now.
No, he started 24th there. Started 19th, and he is currently running in 24th position. And usually he's going forward rather than backward.
That's back there with Jack Ingram, the 5-time national champion. Ingram, the right of your screen, the car number 11. That's the Skoll Chevrolet out of Asheville, North Carolina. Martin slowing continually back up front. Bobby Labonte on the move, trying to stay within a couple of car lengths of Tommy Ellis.
And look how low he's able to keep his Oldsmobile on the racetrack in the turns, Jerry. That will be a very critical point. If after they run for 15 or 20 laps and those tires really get heated up, here's Sterling Marlin going around Harry Gant. If you can keep the car low on the racetrack, it's definitely your advantage. That was 4th place that Sterling Marlin just made the pass on Gant. So Gant now back in 5th place. He started 3rd.
Sterling Marlin driving a car owned by Fred Turner out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Only their 4th start this year in that car. They've run well everywhere they've been. They've had trouble being involved in an accident at Daytona. They were involved in a shunt at Darlington with the Elton Sawyer car and had the toe end knocked out. There is Harry Gant, the car number 7, who has led more laps here than anyone else at Dover, Delaware in Busch Series racing, 346 laps, and has yet to win. He's been on the pole here 3 or 4 times. In fact, 4 times he's won the pole up here. He is a fellow who will sit there and take care of his car. And now Ron Lamell. Remember, he had the shunt early on with the car number 75 with Spencer and was spun. They did not throw the caution flag. He lost a half a lap and has now been put a lap down by Tommy Ellis.
And Bobby Labonte now working on Ellis as they come off of turn 4, tried to get a nose under it, but couldn't quite do it as they came off the turn. Now Ellis trying to keep his car low on the racetrack, but look, it drifts up just a little bit in the center of the turn. Labonte keeps his down low, and as time goes by, that'll certainly work to his advantage.
Bobby Labonte has impressed a lot of people. Not only is that in trouble out of turn 2, one car has tagged the wall and spinning a lot of smoke. A couple of cars spin, trying to avoid the accident out of turn 2.
And the caution is out. That's the car number 77, which is being driven by Billy Clark from Farmington, Maine.
Another car involved is Bobby Moon, the late model stock car ace from Virginia. His car having come into contact. He was the first car that spun coming out of turn 2, tagged the outside wall, and that car now has come to rest against the inside retaining barrier, looking down the back straightaway. We are under caution here for the first time today in the Ames SplitFire 200 Busch Grand National Series race. A lot of great laps to come your way. Stay with us. And Martin had trouble early on and was slowing down a little bit. Let's check in the pits where Benny Parsons is standing.
Bill, what happened to the car?
Evidently, we left the plug wire loose, but we got it back on, and we should be okay. Hope so, anyway.
You have to change the spark plug?
No, just put the plug wire back on.
And everything's okay. What happened to the plug wire?
Well, I guess we left it off.
Hey, an honest man for a change.
And sometimes it's hard to be honest, Benny, in a case like that.
We were under caution here, and of course that gave Martin an opportunity, but here's what caused the caution out of a couple of cars looping, Ned.
Billy Clark in the green and white car number 77 and the car number 85, which is being driven by Bobby Moon involved. You can see Clark continuing to spin around up on the outside of the track as other traffic goes by. Both cars damaged pretty heavily.
Getting set for the green flag once again here. 14 laps complete of 200, which comprise this 200-mile event. Green flag waving from Pete Babb, and Tommy Ellis will lead him down to turn 1. Ellis your leader, then comes Bobby Labonte, and Sterling Marlin in third spot. Harry Gant hanging on the fourth.
Sterling Marlin ran very fast in practice before qualifying. Jerry thought he had a shot at the pole, but they made a change on the car, and it went the wrong way for him. So look for him to try to get up towards the front. Here's Martin now beginning to pass some cars in the back of the pack, and you can tell the old 6 cylinders are hitting okay now on that Carolina Ford.
It's amazing what 6 cylinders do as compared to 5 when you try to run a 1-mile racetrack. And Martin is on the move, trying to go around the Ed Ferree car. Just in front of him, Tommy Houston. Some of those cars have made pit stops just quickly to check the chassis adjustments on the car. Now Martin just zips by Ferree and literally inhales Houston on the way by in turn 3.
Well, that car always handles so well, and it's running fast down the straightaway right now, too. So I think Martin will be able to move up through the pack pretty good.
He's got a long way to go. It's quite a ride from back there where he is behind the Ron Lamel car to back up front where the leaders are. They're coming out of turn 4 now. Tommy Ellis, he's gone by. A lot of traffic now, single file. We will show you exactly how far back Mark Martin is in the car number 1, the Carolina Ford dealer's car. And there he is.
Yeah, he's got a lot of iron to go through before he can get up to the front, but he'll pick his way through. Goes down on the inside. The car works well down there, so if he can pass where he wants to, low or high, that'll help him to get up through the pack. Now he's going to try to go around the car number 71 of Randy LaJoy on the outside. And Bobby Labonte has taken the lead.
Looks like Tommy Ellis is slipping a little bit, and Sterling Marlin will also slide beneath Ellis. So Labonte, the youngster, takes over the point, 26 years of age. Sterling Marlin, the veteran, and now Ellis's car, as we mentioned before, Dad, you talked about the car slipping up a little bit in the corners. It split up coming into turn 1, and now Harry Gant's working on the rear of Ellis as they head for turn 1.
Yeah, when the car was slipping up into turns, it just looked like that maybe he was a little bit loose, and as time goes by, it'll get looser and looser. And Chuck Bowen looks like he's having some problems. He's dropping back. The point leader, there is the Jimmy Spencer car going by. Greg Saxon just went by, the Darrell Waltrip Superflow car. So Chuck Bowen having his problems here today as he continues to backpedal.
That's the NASCAR Classic Pontiac number 63. Now, he was hoping they would get their first super speedway win of the year. They had some good runs at Nazareth and New Hampshire. Finished third in both places. Little smoke being coughed out of one car there. And Mark Martin, yes, that's him pedaling to the outside. He is on the move. Martin now trying to move around the outside of the car number 79, Dave Resendez. Now they're door-to-door in front of him. And Jack Sprague in the car number 34 on the inside. And Martin will go to the bottom of the racetrack at a turn 4. And the fans on their feet cheering for Martin Martin. He is putting on one whale of a show.
Boy, he really is, Jerry. He tried it high and said, hey, there's a better hole down low, so he just turned to the left and went down there. The car is really working. Of course, he drives his heart out. Everything he gets in, I mean, he runs it as hard as it'll possibly go.
They should make him start in the back of all these races. What a whale of a show he puts on here, coming up through the pack in a strong effort. Bill Davis, somewhat red-faced, telling Benny Parsons that they had possibly left the spark plug wire off. The driver who's not having a great day is Chuck Bound. It's a brand new race car. Jeff and Hubert Hensley, the owners of that car, had the new car built to run on the speedways and not performing as well as they would like. Back up front, Bobby Labonte in the car number 44, Sterling Marlin in the Sunoco Oldsmobile, a pair of Oldsmobiles running 1-2.
Well, Jerry, I'm going to have to give Dale Jarrett a plug. He has come from 22nd to 10th and has come up through the pack pretty good. So as we watch these front runners here, Marlin trying to figure out the groove that Bobby Labonte is running in and figure, well, how can I move around that car? In fact, Labonte thought he had a shot at the pole as well. He was disappointed when he didn't get it. Started in second.
Action heating up here at the Monster Mile. The top 10 drivers, Bobby Labonte showing the way. Marlin, again, Ellison Presley, lots of laps to come. Stay with us. Back in Dover, Delaware, Bobby Labonte showing the way, but he's getting challenged.
From Sterling Marlin, he just drives on the inside and takes the lead in turn 3.
Sterling Marlin goes around and takes the lead coming out of turn 4. An outstanding move by the veteran Winston Cup campaigner, sliding by the youngster Bobby Labonte. Action fast and furious. Martin Martin making his way through traffic. That's Jimmy Hensley, currently second in the point standings, and Jimmy Spencer behind him. The Charlie Henderson You Can Rent Oldsmobile being driven this week by Jimmy Spencer. Ernie Irvin had to concentrate on the other efforts, who has been driving that car earlier in the year. So Spencer in for a one-race deal. And now Martin moving around to the outside. That's Kyle Petty, the SplitFire Pontiac. The Ted Condor machine prepared by Jerry Kennan and the crew. Did not have a particularly good qualifying effort, Ned, and Kyle certainly not running up to par as he would normally be on a track of this hill.
Now, usually that car on a mile or longer is up towards the front. Martin now has moved up into the 14th position. So he has moved from the back of the pack to the middle of the pack in a relatively short period of time.
Back up front, Sterling Marlin driving the car number 48. Said the car is owned by Fred Turner out of Greensboro, North Carolina. We mentioned Chuck Bound. As you see Sterling Marlin going by the Joe Nemechek car. Nemechek was one of the cars involved in a spin. He actually didn't actually spin a little bit ago, but he had some fender damage, so his car not running up to par. That's the 87 current leader in the rookie standings. But we mentioned the fact that Chuck Bound's car was not running as well as they would have liked. Hubert and Jeff Hensley have to be scratching their head a little bit. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, I talked to Jeff Henson, the crew chief on the Nescafe Pontiac, and he said the car is simply too loose. But they're fighting for a championship. They can't take any chances. They're going to wait until they get a caution flag, adjust the car, and then try to race with these guys. Not until he has a very, very loose race car.
Well, a loose race car on a high-banked one-mile track. You're just going to have to tiptoe and be careful, and I guess until they get a caution flag.
Here's Bobby Labonte trying to come back on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Harry Gant now has caught up to them. Gant's car might have been a little bit tight in the early going, but the track coming to him now, and Bobby Labonte is going to pass Sterling Marlin, but here comes Marlin back up on the outside.
A lot of strength in that Ron Hutter engine in the car number 48 for Sterling Marlin. Now, Bobby Labonte in the car number 44. He's got a Carl Wegner V6, and behind him is Gant with a Ruggles V6. Three different engine makers. Two Oldsmobiles and a Buick. Right behind him, another Buick Goo Clusters car for Tommy Ellis. Really, the top four cars. You can throw a blanket over them as Sterling Marlin seems to have the muscle coming off the corner, but Labonte keeps that car glued to the bottom in turn 3.
Well, as a result of Marlin being up on the outside, his engine has higher RPMs coming off the turn, and Harry Gant knew that, so he jumped up on the outside of Labonte and makes the pass for second.
That's Harry Gadd in the green and white numeral car number 7, the Skoll Bandit Buick. The Ed Whitaker-owned car. Chris Carrier, the crew chief on that. Chris, an engineering graduate, East Tennessee State University. Outstanding young crew chief. There's a battle for third spot. Now Gant.
Battle for the lead as Gant tries to make that move. And Jerry, one thing that might have happened that has changed these cars a little bit, the sun was shining just a moment ago, and now there are clouds. Look at the tire smoke as Labonte went into the turn. Here's Harry Gant trying to make that move down on the inside, and look at the smoke coming off of Labonte's car. Maybe that is the tire smoke.
Labonte's car is suddenly slowed. A puff of smoke going into one, another puff of smoke coming out of turn 2, and the car rolling now slowly down on the apron. A tough break for Bobby Labonte, the youngster. Brings the Penrose Firecracker Sausages car. And now Gant makes a slick move underneath Jeff Burton. Burton being used as the pick. It's the old roll and pick maneuver in basketball. Burton, one of the slower cars, caught in the middle groove, and Gant takes advantage and will take the lead.
That was a great move. There's the car number 44, the Penrose Sausages Oldsmobile of Bobby Labonte. What a tough break for him.
Now he is third in the point standings. Remember, we talked about the points and how tough it could be. Our Benny Parsons is standing by in their pit. Benny?
Jerry Parsons, the problem is terminal. An engine problem, they're just going to look at it. They're not going to try to do anything to the car because they know that it's hopeless. Another top contender out of the competition today.
Tough break for Bobby Labonte with Dad Bob in their hunt for a super speedway win and a great finish in the points. There's Harry Gant back up front. We mentioned Gant has run so well here in the past. He has yet to win. He's led so many laps, always something. The Gremlin seemed to climb out of that Buick with a few laps to go and spell defeat. Now there's the man on the move. That's Dale Jarrett, one of the strong cars. He started way back in the pack, but we'll talk about Dale in just a moment. But also Mark Martin is back there.
Yeah, Dale is running 7th, and Mark Martin now has moved up to 9th, and he is definitely gaining on the leaders, Jerry. Even, of course, they've been dicing around up front there a little bit, but coming through the traffic, Mark Martin is running faster than Harry Gant.
We'll show you Mark Martin. There's Jarrett coming out of turn 2. Behind him, Hamilton, and there's Mark Martin. Carolina Ford dealers sponsored Ford Thunderbird, and we understand they have re-signed for another year of sponsorship. Mark Martin making a charge. One driver whose charge is over for the day is standing by with Benny Parsons.
You are looking at a very disappointed race car driver. Do you know what happened, Bobby?
Yeah, the motor blew up. I don't know what part of it, but looks pretty severe. That's our first motor we blew up all year, so we can't say much, but it didn't come at a very opportune time as far as points when the car was running today. You know, the Penrose car was running good, just that's the way it goes.
Were you just waiting for the end of the race? Were you not running that hard?
I was running really hard, you know. The couple guys were running real fast. Our car's a little loose, but we got back to lead and then start seizing up after that. So it was going to be close, I guess.
He'll be back next week.
Indeed he will. They mix it up front, and that's Tommy Ellis now trying to make a move. That would be for second spot beneath the car number 48 of Sterling Marlin.
And Jerry, while Benny was talking to Bobby Labonte, Jack Ingram, 5-time national champion of this division, blew the engine on his Skoll Chevrolet, so he's behind the wall.
Todd Bodine in the car number 81. You wouldn't believe it, but this is the youngest of the Bodine. I don't know if there are any more Bodines hiding up in Chemung, New York, but Todd Bodine, the youngster, younger brother of Fred, of course, and Jeff Bodine, making a good move. And here's a battle. A couple of veteran drivers. Car number 32, that's the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac for Dale Jarrett.
They're battling for 6th position. Jarrett's running 6th. Mark Martin is running 7th. They ran side by side, Jerry, for about 2 laps. Jarrett was on the outside, so he was able to hold Martin off. And it looks like Greg Sachs maybe has had an engine problem in the Super Blow, car number 17.
Tough break there for Greg Sachs. Eddie Jones in the crew, who's subbing, of course. There's Eddie Jones. He's got that left arm in a sling, having a problem, and his car likewise having a tough day. There's Harry Gant going by the Gary Ballou car, the Roy Hill-on machine, car number 7. We're in the early laps here at Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile for the Ames SplitFire 200, and Harry Gant is showing the way. Lots of laps left. Stay with us. Back at Dover, Delaware, still early in the Ames SplitFire 200 Busch Grand National Series event. Harry Gant showing the way. Tommy Ellis, our new track record pole sitter, in second spot. Todd Bodine, an impressive run with that 26-year-old driver. Sterling Marlin and Rick Mast battling for that fourth spot. 6 through 10. Bobby Hamilton, Dale Jarrett has made a move. Jimmy Spencer, Kyle Petty, and Ken Schrader. A lot of Winston Cup experience, Ned, rising toward the top.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising. And here's some Winston Cup experience that's behind the wall, and that is Mark Martin's Ford. Just moments ago, something must have happened to the engine on the car, and Benny Parsons is standing by with it.
Mark, what happened to the Ford?
I don't know what happened to it, Benny. Just went down on 5 cylinders. No use in running on 5 today.
It wasn't a spark plug wire this time.
It wasn't a spark plug wire. I don't really know what it was.
How about the Winston Cup championship?
We're going to get it.
Think so, huh?
A long way to go, Benny. Earnhardt's really tough. We're doing the best we can do.
Good luck tomorrow.
There's Harry Gant, car number 7.
Once he got in front, Jerry, he was able to pull away from Tommy Ellis, who is now running in second place. Sterling Marlin was up there for a while. He's dropped back to 5th place now. But Gant just weaving in and out of traffic as he laps those cars. There are 17 cars now on the lead lap as he moves around the car number 86 of Dana Patton.
Gant has one win this year in Busch Series racing. That came early in the year at Darlington, South Carolina. The track too tough to tame. He has been here at Dover, Delaware on the Monster Mile 7 times. His best finish, second, coming this past June. Often wonder why so many of these Winston Cup drivers run the Saturday races, man, but I think they feel like it does give them a little bit of advantage to get some track time.
Well, they love the race, first of all, Jerry, and yes, when they're running the next day, getting that track time is very important. They can see the changes in the track and then go back maybe to their Winston Cup crew and say, hey, we need to change this a little bit. This racetrack's doing this or that, and I think it is helpful to them.
There's Harry Gant, the leader, moving back to car number 99. Tommy Ellis in second spot. He is in heavy traffic. Right behind him is Todd Bodine.
Got to be impressed with that young man, Jerry. Doing a great job running in 3rd place here today.
When you figure that Todd Bodine we're talking about, has only driven in 6 Busch Series races ever, and he has never been on a super speedway, never been on a track bigger than a half mile, with the exception possibly of Richmond, Virginia last week. His best finish coming early in the year for Todd Bodine. It was 7th at Orange County. Here he is running in the top 5. In fact, he is showing in 3rd spot on his first ever speedway start. What is it with those Bodines? I mean, I think that Mr. and Mrs. Bodine did a great job with those youngsters.
They certainly did, because every one of them has talent. Of course, they grew up in a racing atmosphere. Eli Bodine, their dad, owned a racetrack in upstate New York. And
Chemung Speedway.
Yep. So they grew up in it and learned to deal with competition. And boy, every one of them has talent. Of course, we're talking about Jeff and Brett and now Todd.
Now Tommy Ellis in the car number 99, the veteran campaigner. J&J Racing Goo Cluster Buick.
Here's Rick Mast in car number 22, the blue and white Raven Boats Buick. He's coming on. He started back in the pack and is moving up now. He is in 4th position. Rick started in the 8th position. He dropped back for a little while, but now the car is really working for him. And it seems to, with the cloud over the sun, that's working to his advantage.
This is a great racetrack for Rick Mast. So many good things have happened to him up here. And, of course, you talk about good things happen to great people and talented young drivers. He's won twice in the past 3 Busch Series events. It couldn't come at a better time as far as running these races in front of the Winston Cup people who watch the Busch Series every week.
Well, I tell you, they do watch these races and see who is doing what out there, and there is a lot of talent that has come out of this division on into Winston Cup racing, and we're going to see more of it next year. Rick Mast, we're talking about there, of course, will be driving a Winston Cup car full-time for Richard Jackson next year, the Skoll Oldsmobile number 1, and Bobby Hamilton supposedly is close to a deal for next year, so they do impress people when they're running out here on Saturday afternoon and give them a chance to move on up.
Rick only has 2 full-time employees working for him, and those 2 men, Man Apperson and Nick Pace, do a tremendous job in that Raven Boats Buick, getting prepared for the Busch Series racing. Now Mass beginning to close in now on Todd Bodine. Mass Buick to the right of your screen. That's Bodine in the car number 81. That's the Ames Department Store in Pontiac. Right in front of them is the car number 99 of Tommy Ellis. That's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all right together.
Jerry, I said a moment ago that Jack Ingram had blown the engine on his Skoll Chevrolet. There was smoke coming from it, and they did something to it, got him back out on the racetrack. He's back in the pits now, but Jack Ingram is not out of the race. So for his many fans around the country, we want to update him on that situation. Now he is going behind the wall, so my comments were correct later on.
You know, some drivers just seem to take to certain racetracks, and I guess we talked about how strong Harry Gant's been over the years at Darlington and how well some of the drivers have run here, Earnhardt at Dover. Well, this track's been awfully good to Rick Mass. 3 years ago, it was very special to him. Tell us about it, Rick.
You know, there's somebody by the name of Jerry Punch that came to me at Dover in 1987. I'd set a track record. I was sitting on the pole here. I think ESPN did an interview with me. ESPN, for some reason, didn't air that interview. Jerry comes to me later. He says, Rick, you're one heck of a race car driver. When I talk to you, no problem. But when you got on that TV camera, something went wrong. Went wrong. So you need to fix that. So, I fixed it, Jerry. Here I am 3 years later.
Indeed, he did, Ned. And he went and took a Dale Carnegie course, developed some self-confidence and to be able to speak publicly, and now he is probably one of the best interviews in the business. Not only that, he is well-liked by many sponsors, and I think that has propelled him, along with his driving talent, into a great Winston Cup future.
He's very articulate now, no question about it. That helped him to get the ride that he does have. Here's Harry Gant, the leader.
Harry Gant back up front in the Skoll Buick, the Ed Whitaker racing car, as they are clocking them one by one here. Harry Gant showing the way, Tommy Ellis and others in the chase. Stay with us. Welcome you back to Dover, Delaware. Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett, and I'm Jerry Punch, bringing you exciting Busch Grand National Series racing action, and Harry Gant is showing the way. But they're mixing it up behind him. That's the car number 81 of Todd Bodine, along with Rick Mass and Sterling Marlin. Ned?
Rick Mass moves around Bodine and takes over 3rd, and here's Sterling Marlin in car number 48 trying to take over 4th position. Young Todd Bodine doing a good job, now running in 5th place. Marlin in car number 48. Looked like a puff of smoke coming out of his car, Jerry. We'll see if it develops into anything as time goes by. Rick Mass now in 3rd place.
Leader Harry Gant showing the way here, just having moved by the car number 31 of Steve Grissom, currently being shown 4th in the point standings. Heavy traffic, Ned, right in front of our leader.
There are only 13 cars left on the lead lap. Here is Sterling Marlin in car number 48. That's off the pace. Dale Jarrett goes around him. Marlin was running in the 4th position, but it looks like headed for the pit.
Sterling Marlin slowing down. What a tough break for Sterling Marlin, running so well in the Fred Turner on Oldsmobile, Sunoco Oldsmobile, and he will bring that car to a halt on pit road. It'll be a little early for a fuel stop, and they go beneath the hood. There is Steve Lloyd, who is Marlin's Winston Cup crew chief, along with some of the Busch Grand National regulars there from the Fred Turner on team. A tough break for Sterling Marlin.
They'll have regular pit stops coming up, Jerry, in about 15 to 20 laps. But certainly this is unscheduled, and normally they would not go under the hood, so it looks like it's Terminal 4, Sterling Marlin here today.
There's Harry Gant, our leader, moving in on last year's Rookie of the Year, Kenny Wallace.
Now Wallace is running in the 12th position, Jerry, as Harry Gant tries to move down on the inside of him, coming off of turn 4. So you can see how fast Gant has been running to lap everything but the 12th place car there right now and about to do him.
Some of the drivers have had to exit early: Ward Burton, Joe Bessie, along with Bobby Labonte, Jack Sprague, Greg Sachs, and Mark Martin, who was so strong early on, having parked the Carolina Ford dealers Thunderbird.
For Kenny Wallace doing everything he can to stay in the lead lap, just hoping for a caution flag. There's a lot of drivers out there that would like to see a caution. We've only had one, and that was early in the race. And those tires are getting hot and worn, and they're slipping and sliding a little bit. As we watch Rick Mass now trying to go on the inside of Tommy Ellis. That's for 2nd place. The blue car, the Raven Boats Buick of Rick Mass, trying to move on the inside of the Goo Goo Clusters Buick of Tommy Ellis, but Ellis takes advantage of the traffic. And here's Jimmy Spencer has moved up into the 4th position now. He is really on the move.
Jimmy Spencer driving the car number 75, the Charlie Henderson You Can Rent Oldsmobile. That's the black and Dayglow orange colored car. On the right of your screen, the 22 car is Rick Mast. And then the Goo Goo Clusters Buick for Tommy Ellis. They're trying to go around Dave Mater, who is driving.
Mater running in the 13th position in the Cooper car number 56.
Of course, driving for Ronald Cooper, who decided to devote some more time to the family business. Mater having his first time. Then they some contact between Spencer and Mast.
Yeah, they were lucky to get out of that situation.
Rick Mast did a well of a job to keep that car under control. Likewise, Spencer trying to keep his car from spinning. They backed away a little bit. They run almost 100 laps here, which is, as you said, Ned, scheduled pit stops probably coming up in the next 10 or 12 laps.
Now the fans will see that blue and white car at the back of this pack. That's Jimmy Hensley. He has gone a lap down. He and Chuck Bowen both are a lap down now. Hensley running in the about the 14th position. But he is 1 lap down.
Let's take a look again. It's a close call here that in turns 1 and 2 as a couple of cars now get together.
Well, you can see Jimmy Spencer in the black car on the inside of Rick Mast, and they touch a little. Spencer goes sideways and gets the car gathered back in before he gets up into Mast. If he had gone back into him, Jerry, I think he would have spun both cars.
They're running it on a slower car, and Spencer just couldn't quite get the car halted in time, and they had some contact, both of them being veteran drivers, able to hang on. That is Mast, the car number 22. He is in 3rd spot. Spencer is in 4th position, and just behind them is Todd Bodine.
So you see the 3rd, 4th, 5th place cars there on your screen.
Well, they have not made a pit stop, and we have completed 94 laps. They've got to be concerned about fuel, but I wonder how the tires are doing. Let's check in the pits with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Ponce, you can see the tires aren't doing too good. This is the left rear of Gary Ballou's automobile. Blistered and chunked badly, as if these drivers didn't have enough to worry about. Look at those tires. Now then, are the tires going to make it? We'll have to check with the leaders and see.
Well, we can check with the leaders up front, and there they are. Of course, there is Kenny Wallace trying to hang on. Wallace in the car number 36, but Gant will slide by. Wallace would like to have been able to stay in front of Harry Gant. That's Tom Peck, the McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania driver, just in front of him in the blue and white numeral car number 96. Peck had his best run of the year here early in the spring. A great top 5 finish.
And he's currently running in 10th place as Harry Gant tries to move on the inside of him to put him a lap down. So now there's just 10 cars in the lead lap, and if he does get around Peck, that will only leave 9 cars in the lead lap.
And Rick Mast now being passed by Jimmy Spencer in the car number 75. This is the car that Ernie Irvin drove a couple of weeks ago on ESPN at Darlington, and there's Todd Bodine, really distinguishing himself very well for the first time on a track bigger than 3/4 of a mile. 26-year-old driver from Chemung, New York. There is Kyle Petty in the SplitFire Pontiac along with Jimmy Hensley.
Yeah, those tires are getting hot and worn. I think that's Rick Mast's problem right now. He's beginning to slip and slide a little bit. Earlier, Jerry, he was able to keep the car right down on the bottom of the racetrack in the turns, but he isn't able to do that now. And he's just waiting till he can go at least past the halfway point, come in and get some fresh tires.
And we mentioned they have run now 99 laps. It'll be 100 laps next time by, or halfway. And a lot of the fans who watch Winston Cup racing will figure, well, how can they go that far? Well, the Winston Cup cars have 358 cubic inch V8 engines. These cars have 274 cubic inch V6 engines with a small 390 cubic foot per minute carburetor. Therefore, they can go roughly 110 to 130 miles, just depending upon how they have it jetted for fuel efficiency. Halfway, that time by, is 100 laps are complete. And now, sometime in the next possibly 5 to 10 laps, we'll expect to see some pit stops. And Ned?
Dale Jarrett is in right now in the Nestor's Crunch Pontiac making his pit stop. He was running in 6th place. as John Irvin and the crew go to work. They're changing the right side tires. I think that's what we'll see with most of the drivers when they make these green flag pit stops, and they'll cram every ounce of fuel in them they can possibly get. See, they've already got the tire changed, but they want to get enough fuel in so that he can go the rest of the way, and that's the reason they're staying in as long as they are. Took him about 18.5 seconds, but he wanted to be sure that he's full of gas. Remember, that's what helped win the race for him at Darlington a couple of weeks ago. Here's Kyle Petty, the SplitFire.
And there's Harry Gitt, our leader, who will be slowing down to make an entry on the pit road. Yes, you saw a minute ago, Mark shook the gas man there, trying to get every drop of gas in Dale Jarrett's car. And now here's Harry Gitt headed to the pit. Look good of Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, he brings the Skull Bandit Buick in. Overshoots pit just a little bit. But the jack's under the car, and they're changing right side tires. Crew going to work. The second can of gas is going in. Right front tire changed, the rear is changed. They're waiting on the gasoline. The car is still down. It's full fuel, and away goes Harry Gitt. 18.2 seconds.
Not a bad pit stop for Harry Gitt. Here comes Tommy Ellis, the Goo Goo Clusters crew. Now we'll go to work. John Jackson, Bill Papke, the owners of that car, and we'll go to work on the right side.
Of course, Ellis had taken over the lead when Gant came into the pit. Ellis had led earlier in the race and was running second when Gant made the pit stop. We'll see others coming in here before too long. This should give the lead now to Jimmy Spencer. See the time ticking away. He's going to have a longer stop than Gant and Jarrett. About almost 20 seconds for Tommy Ellis. That cost him a little bit. Kenny Wallace is in the pit as Ellis goes back out.
About a 2-second differential. Here's our leader, Jimmy Spencer. We might mention that Jim Harmon is the new crew chief for that Charlie Henderson car. And Harmon, you might remember, was the crew chief for many years for Harry Gitt when he sat on the pole here 4 times. This car running awfully well. Here is Spencer slamming on the brakes. He gets the car barely stopped in the pits, and now they scamper around. Harmon and the crew trying to get the tires changed. We'll have the clocks on the You Can Run Oldsmobile crew. Jimmy Spencer, I guess just coming out of turn 4, coming down pit road at probably 75, 80 miles an hour, jamming on the brakes. A number of crew members working on the car. There's Harmon stepping back across the wall as they are conducting operations, talking to their driver, Jimmy Spencer. Lengthy stay in the pit. They finally get it full of fuel, almost 25 seconds. That's 8 seconds over what Gannon pitted. That's the front differential there.
Let's take a look at his pits again. Now he's pitting almost, he's just 3 or 4 pits down. You can see he's already locked the brakes up. That didn't help him any as the man holding the flag out there, or the board, got out of the way. But he got to stop pretty good, in good position. There was Kenny Schrader behind him making a pit stop at the same time.
And they're battling up front there. It's Rick Mast and Todd Bodine. Neither of those cars have made an entry onto pit road as of yet. Getting excellent gas mileage. They go by the Billy Clark car number 77. Todd Bodine, of course, remember now, Todd Bodine and Kyle Petty coming out of the same racing stable. So the Ted Condor-owned cars only have 1 crew here. So they have already pitted Kyle Petty. In fact, Kyle Petty has taken that car behind the wall just moments ago. So now Todd Bodine will be able to make his pit stop whenever he needs to. Right now, he's not thinking about making an entry into the pit. But you see Rick Mast waving. Rick says, hey, I'm headed for pit road, Todd, so back off, big guy. I'm going to be slowing down.
Well, Todd wants the lead lap, and he's going to get to do it as Rick Mast does come into the pits in the Raven Boat Buick. See how fast he can do it. And he has run 109 laps when he comes across the start-finish line. Comes in at a good clip. Like everybody else, they'll put right side tires on him. Making no chassis adjustment. Well, the guy reaching inside there, yes, he is making a chassis adjustment on the car. They don't have one down through the rear window like a lot of the cars have, so he reached inside and made a little adjustment on it. A little trouble with the right rear tire there, Jerry. That's going to cost them some extra time. The gas is already in it, and that right rear tire problem cost him a lot of time. 25 seconds almost for Rick Mast.
At least a 6-second problem there on the right rear for Rick Mast. They made an adjustment there, and we will wait for the car number 81 to make an entry on the pit road. Looks like Todd Bodine and Tom Peck, the car number 96, as they are getting ready to make an entry into the pit. Todd Bodine, their leader, coming in for his pit stop. Let's go to Benny Parsons.
Here he brings the car down off turn 4, coasts the car in, stops right on the point. The jack goes under the car. Gasoline going in the automobile. Cleaning the windshield, a routine stop, no problem. First can of gas is in, the second can's on. They do make a chassis adjustment on the right rear. Car tires are being changed, the car is moving, and away it goes. A 16-second pit stop, the best one so far.
Indeed, Vinny, the best pit stop in trouble right in front of Todd Bodine is Elton Sawyer. Gets his car out, and suddenly looks like Sawyer's car may have stalled. There is Harry Gant, our leader, but a great pit stop, man.
It was a great pit stop, but he lost a little bit of that time when he did have to slow down there on pit road.
We are past the halfway point here in Dover, Delaware, in the Ames SplitFire 200. Everyone's made a pit stop. It's going to get serious. Don't go away.
Injection spark plug. I'm going to tell you exactly what we're talking about. Spark plug, this is the center or ground electrode. They mark the spark plug on the outer shell where the ground electrode is. Then they screw the spark plug in the cylinder head, making sure that when the spark plug is tight, the ground electrode is at the top. See the black line across the top? The ground electrode has to be at the top. Why? Because when the piston comes up, if it's at the bottom, the piston will hit the spark plug and close the gap, and leaving the spark plug not to fire at all. The problem is to get 6 spark plugs, you may have to go through a couple of hundred to find 6 that tighten up perfectly. That is induction spark plug.
Well, I didn't know that, Benny. Thank you. I appreciate learning that. I'm sure the fans out there will too.
Certainly a lot of work goes into preparing one of these cars and getting everything just right. And of course, if you get that piston to start tapping those spark plugs, you won't have a long afternoon.
No, you certainly won't. You'll have a short one. Look here, Jerry. Kenny Wallace, after they made pit stops, back out in front of Harry Gant. He had gone a lap down, but he made a good pit stop, got back out in front of Gant, and Gant has not been able to get around him. Currently, Wallace is running in the 9th position. There are 9 cars on the lead lap. And Gant just can't put him a lap down.
Now, Kenny's got to be saying, Harry, go away. Go play with someone else. He's just trying everything he can to stay on the lead lap, and he is on the lead lap by a good maybe 14 and a half, 15 feet. We'll show you the second place car. That is Tommy Ellis, our pole sitter, running second right now. And a great run for the Richmond, Virginia driver, former series champion, and carrying the Doo Clusters sponsorship from Standard Candies. And right behind him, Ned,
is the car number 81 of Todd Bodine, who is running in the 3rd position. So Bodine having a great run here this afternoon. Running in the 4th position would be the car number 75 of Jimmy Spencer. He got around Dale Jarrett a moment ago. Jarrett's running 5th, and then Rick Mass, Bobby Hamilton, Kenny Schrader, and Kenny Wallace. Those are the 9 cars that are in the lead lap.
And we'll let some of the cars go through as what we call our field snapshot. We allow you fans to be able to pick up your favorite car and driver. We will take a shot there. Pete Babb on the flag stand as he's watching the Busch cars coming out of turn 4. There is Harry Gant again, dogging the rear deck of Kenny Wallace in his Pontiac. Wallace has re-signed with Cox Wood Preserving for 1991. They will change the color of that car from the green, white, and yellow to primarily a black car with some green and yellow next year.
Now, Kenny Wallace in car number 36, we saw him about to make a move on Ken Schrader. There he is coming off the turn. Now, that would be for 8th position. Schrader, one of the cars in the lead lap, running 8th. Kenny Wallace running 9th. You got 3 green and white cars running right together. How many years ago was it that you absolutely wouldn't put green on a race car?
You really wouldn't. Of course, that's the car that, if that car of Kenny Schrader's looked like a land yacht, it's one of the Monte Carlos that used to run a long time ago, of course, and a few years back, and now they've gone to the downsized cars. That's the car that won here last September. Kenny Schrader is driving. Now back the battle between the car number 99. Really not a battle, and he is pulling away. That is Tommy Ellis is pulling away from Todd Bodine.
And he might be pulling up on Harry Gant as Gant is in that heavy traffic up in front of him, Jerry. I think he is gaining on Harry Gant. Now Gant is trying to put that lap on Kenny Wallace as we watch Todd Bodine in car number 81. Just cruising around, doing a great job. Takes a good line around the racetrack.
There is Todd Bodine. We'll drop back and pick up the next car, which would be the car number 75 of Jimmy Spencer, who is in 4th place. Spencer having passed Dale Jarrett just moments ago to take that 4th spot away. The Charlie Henderson-owned car, and a great job by Jim Harmon and the crew to get that car dialed in. And back in 5th position, the fellow who won on ESPN at Darlington. A great effort by the crew there, the Nestle's Crunch crew, John Urban, and of course that driver, Dale Jarrett. And right behind him, the car number 22, Rick Mass.
Rick running in the 6th position.
some of the drivers you see who have not had good days here at the Monster Mile. Out of race, Bobby Labonte, of course, who had a great run going early on with engine trouble. Mark Martin, likewise. The former 5-time champion, Jack Ingram, and Sterling Marlin. Kyle Petty, Gary Ballou, Randy LaJoie, some of the latest drivers to exit here at Dover, Delaware. Dale Jarrett trying to make a move inside the Armor Meats car, number 12 of Jeff Burton.
Jarrett went a little high going into the turn, and Mass took advantage of it, tries to move on the inside now as they go down the backstretch and into turn 3. Jarrett's been running pretty high in the turn, and Mass has been running low, and with those new outside tires, he's able to stick down there, so he might be able to make the move. Oh boy, they come awfully close to touching coming off the turn.
Dale Jarrett giving Rick Mast a lot of racing room. You saw him move up a little bit, so not the crowd. There's still plenty of laps to go here, and Jarrett, as you said, Ned, his car really sliding up between turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's going a little bit higher than he wants to. I think he'd like to see a caution so he can get the left side tires on that car and maybe make a little bit of an adjustment. They didn't have time to make an adjustment when they made their green flag stop. They just put 2 tires on, filled her up with gas, not knowing if there'd be a caution, so he'll have to ride her out and do the best he can.
And, of course, the battle for 5th spot as Rick Mast has taken 5th away from Dale Jarrett. They have been chasing Harry Gant. It has been a Gant afternoon. And we mentioned that he has led so many laps here at Dover, Delaware. We'll show you where the 4th, 5th, and 6th place cars are, but there's the man they're chasing, Harry Gant. Almost a straightaway separation as Gant now working over the Kenny Schrader car. He has gone around Kenny Wallace to put Wallace a lap down, and so there are only 8 cars in the lead lap with Schrader the last car on the lead lap, and now he does pass Schrader.
So there are only 7 cars on the lead lap now.
Harry Gant showing the way here as 138 laps complete at the Monster Mile, and great Busch Series competition here on the 1 Mile Super Speedway. Gant showing the way here in Dover, Delaware in the Ames SplitFire 200. There's Ed Whitaker, all smiles. His car is up front. Stay with us. Harry Gant showing the way here in Dover, Delaware in the Ames SplitFire 200. Riding high, wide, and handsome. They call him Handsome Harry from Taylorsville, North Carolina. And that's Skull Buick. Trouble up in turn 4. 3 cars involved. Heavy impact. Dave Resendez, the car number 79. And the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Jimmy Spencer in the 75. And a tremendous impact for Tommy Ellis in the car number 99. The front of his car nearly sheared away. Let's take a look and see what happened, Ned.
It looked like Resendez might have blown an engine going in there, and Tommy Ellis ran in and hit him hard in the back, and then Spencer, taking the high line, came in and hit Ellis in the back. Heavy damage to all 3 of those automobiles.
Misfortune for 3 drivers. It'll be a break for a number of people as they will make an entry on the pit road. Lap 144. There's our leader, Harry Gant. Others coming down pit road to try to take on left side tires. Needed rubber on the left side of these cars. We are under the caution for the 2nd time today here at Dover, Delaware. A violent impact up in turn 4. Harry Gant and the others on pit road. Lots of racing to come your way. Stay with us. Back under green at Dover, Delaware. Harry Gant picking up where he left off just moments ago, but there's a lot of drivers right on him. This time he had about an 8 or 9 second lead when the caution came out, but now Rick Mast starting to put the pressure on him.
Rick Mast with a good pit stop for left side tires, Jerry, moved into 2nd place. He was running 5th before this caution came out. Of course, the 2nd and 3rd place cars were taken out in the wreck. Todd Bodine still running in 3rd place. Dale Jarrett is 4th, and Bobby Hamilton 5th. Only 5 cars in the lead lap.
Battle heating up front as now Mast pulls within a half a car length. One driver who's got to be a little bit hot about his day, Tommy Ellis, standing by with Benny Parsons.
Tommy, are you okay?
Yeah, Benny, I'm all right. You know, Goo Goo Cluster Buick was running really good. We were catching Harry a little bit each lap, and Jimmy was running good. I think it was just a matter of time before we was going to have a 3-call race, and we were running good, and it's just a bad day, bad team, but it's been a bad year, so we'll regroup and see what happens the rest of the season. It's just a shame it's had to happen today.
Another fellow who was involved in the accident was Jimmy Spencer. I found him. We're sitting alongside. How are you, Jim?
I'm fine, Benny.
No problem. Nowhere to go.
Well, you know, that 79 car, I believe the 79 car blew an engine. Tommy got in the oil, and I had nowhere to go, and I hit Tommy. You know, that UCAN Ran Oldsmobile was running real fine. That was my first ride in that today. I got to thank Charlie Henderson and the crew. Jim Harmon, the crew chief, you know, they did a heck of a job, got the car out. I think we had the race won, but you can't win them sitting in the pen.
Jerry, we're going to rest the rest of the day down here.
Jimmy Spencer and Tommy Ellis, you don't find any better than that. I mean, Tommy Ellis, a great race driver, and Spencer likewise, but they're trying to heat up the battle here. And Todd Bodine, a youngster making his first ever Speedway start in Busch Series competition. I thought his first time on the Speedways, and he ran a couple of the new sportsman races, what they call the NASCAR Sportsman Division, at Charlotte Motor Speedway, finished second twice. But in this kind of competition, it's his first race with this kind of driver.
Doing a great job. As you can see, Harry Gant has pulled away a little bit from Rick Mast, but Rick has his hands full with Todd Bodine. And Ken Schrader got into the wall a moment ago coming off of turn 4. He's coming off of turn 2 now, but apparently did some damage to his Kodiak Chevrolet. Ken was running in 6th place, 1 lap down, but now looks like he's headed for the pit.
Let's see what happened there just a minute ago. Schrader on the outside there, bumping with another car.
And they get together. That's Steve Grissom down on the inside in car number 31. And Schrader gets into the wall just enough to do some damage to his car, and he's headed into the pits and behind the wall.
Tough break for the defending champion of the Ames SplitFire 200. Schrader there getting service from the Kodiak crew. Timmy Kohuck is crew chief. That's the car that Kenny Schrader himself owns, not one of the Hendrick stable machines. See that impact in the right rear. His day is over with, but another driver whose day is going very, very well is Harry Gant in the Skull Bandit Buick. Gant showing the way, leading over Rick Mast and Todd Bodine. Yes, the fans are enjoying it too. Don't go away. Back at Dover, Delaware for Busch Grand National Series racing. Exciting racing on the Monster Mile. Harry Gant trying to hold on to pick up his first ever win on this 1 mile oval in Busch Series competition. There is the second and third place cars. That's Rick Mast in second place, and in third is the car number 81 of Todd Bodine. They have been mixing it up back there for a second spot. Mast, veteran, picking up his first ever Busch Series win here back in 1987. He set on the pole in the spring race and came back to win this race in September. There's the separation you see between Gant, the leader, and Rick Mast in car number 22.
I don't know if Gant has backed off once he got out. He picked up a pretty good lead there, but it has stabilized, Jerry, so I don't know if Rick Mast has picked up his speed a little bit or if Gant has just decided, okay, this is as fast as I need to run to keep him back there and keep this distance between us. But Mast might have picked up a little bit because he has opened up a couple of car lengths over Todd Bodine, who was trying to pass him about 5 laps ago.
There you see the front 4 cars at the top of your screen. That's Dale Jarrett, the Nestle's Crunch Pontiac, the winner at Darlington and at Charlotte earlier in the year. You see the cars as they file by one. Pick up your favorite driver and cars. They come out of turn 4 right toward you there in turn 1. There's the car number 77. Looks like Gant. That's actually not Harry Gant. The Skoll-sponsored car of Billy Clark, one of the Busch Grand National North. There comes Harry Gant, and indeed, Ned, it looks like Rick Mast is trying to pull away a little bit from Todd Bodine and is closing on Gant.
Yeah, they're definitely gaining on him. Gant is running about a tenth of a second slower than Rick Mast is right now, so he certainly has time. There are about 34 laps to go, and he has time to catch him if he continues to go at that pace of about a tenth of a second a lap.
We mentioned Harry Gant has run here 7 times. His best finish is second back in the June event here, and they're mixing it up back in the pack. That's Steve Grissom, car number 31. That's for 6th and 7th spot. And the car number 96 of Tom Peck. Now, Peck had his best finish of the year, finished 4th here in the spring race. Grissom, a 2-time winner in 1990. The Big Mama Meat Snacks Oldsmobile for the driver of the car number 31. And Rick Mast is closing up front. In fact, Mast and Bodine are closing on Harry Gant. It was about 8 car lengths. It's down now to about 4.
Yeah, Mast is using a little bit higher groove than Gant is, Jerry. Let's watch him as we go into turn 3, and you can see Gant dip right down on the inside of the racetrack, and Mast running about a groove and a half higher, and it's working for him.
I don't believe Harry Gant's waiting on anybody. If he could pull away now, he would, but he seems to be pretty helpless. Gant is running on the very bottom of the racetrack, and Mast really drives it deep into turn 1. The car wagging the tail a little bit. He gathers it back in and still closing.
Boy, he can smell that possible victory up there as he sees Gant continue to go low. Now, Gant is one of the best at searching out a groove on the racetrack, but he feels comfortable, I guess, running down low, but he needs to look in his rearview mirror because the second groove is working better. Rick Mast is definitely working better. See how high he goes, and Gant stays right down on the inside, and Mast is able to pick up on him. However, Gant will slide out in front of him coming off of the turn and shut him off, but he'll eventually get him if they keep racing that way, if Gant doesn't move up. Now, maybe his car won't work up there. He might have already tried it, and it might not work.
A pair of Buicks up front. Right behind them, the Pontiac, the Ames department store's Pontiac of Todd Bodine. And there's the battle again for the 6th and 7th spot. And their car number 25 back there, that is Jimmy Hensley, and the car number 36. And going beneath Hensley, that's Kenny Wallace.
And that would be for the 8th position as he moves up through there. Wallace had just gone a lap down not long before that caution, Jerry, and we thought he got his lap back, but he didn't, and he made a late pit stop, and so he was back at the back of the pack and trying to come back up through as we watch the 3 front cars now.
And their single file is the 2nd and 3rd place car closing in on Harry Gant. It's going to get interesting here as Gant tries to hold them off. Don't go away. More to come. Back at the Monster Mile for Busch Grand National Series Racing, and it's heating up front. Harry Gant trying everything he can to hold off the charge of Rick Mast, and another battle back in the pack. This is the battle for a 6th spot, Ned, and that's the car number 31 of Steve Grissom and Kenny Wallace making a move.
Wallace has come from the back of the pack after making a late pit stop during the caution and trying to move into the 6th position on the inside of Steve Grissom. Wallace has never won in this series, and here's Todd Bodine trying to make a move on Rick Mast for 2nd.
Bodine, the car number 81, the black and white numeral Pontiac. Mast, the white and blue car. Battles everywhere. They're really dicing it back, and Kenny Wallace nearly sliding up into Tommy Houston in the car number 36 is Wallace. Houston, the car number 6. That's the battle for 6th spot. That gives Grissom a chance to pull away by 4 car lengths.
Now, Tommy Houston is 2 laps down, Jerry. He is currently running in the 11th position. Robert Presley was running 11th. He had an engine expired just a couple of laps ago, so he's out of it. So Tommy Houston trying to hang in there, but it is the battle for the 6th position between Wallace and the car number 31.
And there's Chuck Bound, our points leader, in the car number 63. Ron Lamell in the car number 98. And right in front of him, the fellow who actually is chasing Hensley in the, or Bound in the points, that is Jimmy Hensley in the car number 25.
Okay, now Hensley is 1 lap down, being shown in the 8th position. Chuck Bound is 2 laps down, being shown in the 12th position. So 4 positions separate them, so that if they finish this way, Hensley would pick up a few more points, not as many as they picked up in the last 3 races.
And Ron Lamell doing a little bit of dirt track in there as the rear of that car number 98 slipping and sliding. Did a great job to gather that car back in. He's in the far right of your picture a minute ago. They're the 2 drivers involved in the points battle, 63 and 25. And back up front there in the battle for 6th, there is 36, Kenny Wallace now trying to move underneath the 31 of Grissom. There is Hensley and Bound.
And Jared, Hensley is going to win the championship this year. That might be a car owner, it might be a driver. Jimmy Hensley, the driver, but the Hensleys own the car number 63 that Chuck Bowen drives. All in the family from near Martinsville, Virginia.
And Kenny Wallace looks like he's going to make it. Well, he's been by the car number 31 a half a dozen times, but it looks like Grissom always muscles by him back out of turn 2. Let's see if it happens again. That's Grissom on the outside in the car number 31, Steve Grissom and Kenny Wallace, 2 young drivers.
And now Dave Mader coming into that picture in car number 56. He is in the same lap as these cars. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th that we're seeing. And look at Mader trying. He had a notion to go 3 wide, but he decided not to. Of course, Jimmy Hensley also in that battle for position as well. Hensley in the blue and white car. So we're looking at 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th, really.
That's Mader, the car number 56, a Speedway Motorsports Buick, 35-year-old 4-time All-American Challenge Series driver from Maline, Alabama. He's in the red and silver numeral car number 56, the 3rd car there in that 5-car pack you're watching. First one is Steve Grissom, then comes Kenny Wallace, then Mader, then Hensley, and then Chuck Bound. Of course, Bound, as you said, is 2 laps down.
Jerry, let me correct myself. I said that was for 6th. This is for 7th place. Tom Peck is running 6th, and he's pretty far out in front of this group of cars. but it is 7th through 10th that we're watching here now.
There are the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th place cars. And we will let those cars pass out of view, and we'll pick up the lead car. That is Harry Gant. Skull Bandit Buick. Ed Whitaker car. Gant showing the way here as laps are winding down. A little over 10 laps to go. Gant trying to hold off Rick Mass and Todd Bodine. Can Gant pick up his first ever win at the Monster Mile? We'll find out when we come back. One tough customer, Harry Gant, still holding off the charge. A car length away, Rick Mass.
Don't know if Rick's just sitting there riding and waiting for an opportunity. Maybe don't want to make his move too soon. They have less than 10 laps to go. He's going to have to move pretty quick, Jerry, if he has anything left. He might not have anything left, but they're coming up on some pretty heavy traffic now, putting laps on other cars, and don't know whose advantage that will be. Gant has moved up on the racetrack a little bit from what he was running earlier. He saw Mass coming up using that second groove and was working well for Mass, so Gant decided, hey, maybe I better move up there as well.
Remember back in his formative years, Ned, Harry Gant was first racing here in some of the old late model sportsman races, and of course when he first got his start in Winston Cup racing here, this was a track that really propelled Harry Gant into the forefront. He ran a car owned by Jack Beebe in a Winston Cup race and ran what they called the Gant groove, right up against the wall. Everyone said this was Harry Gant's racetrack, and he would win here every time he came. Well, he's won twice in Winston Cup competition, but he has yet to go to victory lane in Busch Series efforts, and he's about 5 laps away from doing it for the first time today.
And he has led more laps in Busch competition than anyone else, but he just hasn't been able to lead that last one, but he's getting closer.
I think Ed Whitaker told him before the race that they went out there and they measured the car before the race, and it'll fit in victory lane. So if you go ahead and win it, we'll get it in there somehow.
Coming up on L.D. Ottinger, the Detroit Gasket Oldsmobile, putting another lap on him. 5 cars in the lead lap. 3 of them are on your screen. Dale Jarrett about 3 seconds behind that, and then Bobby Hamilton another 3 or 4 seconds behind Jarrett.
And right in front of the leaders, that battle continues between the car number 31. That is Steve Grissom and Kenny Wallace. 2 young drivers you're going to hear a lot about here in the future years in Busch Series racing and probably in Winston Cup racing. You see Gant, Mast, and Bodine, the front 3 cars now closing in as laps are winding down. There's 3 laps to go. A lot of traffic in front of Harry Gant. This could have an effect now. Harry is going to have to get this traffic very smoothly and pick them off one by one and still keep one eye peeled back there on Rick Mass.
Yeah, and these guys are up here battling for positions themselves, so they can't just pull over and get out of the way, because if they do, their competition's going to pass them. So Harry is going to have to be careful going through that traffic. Dave Mader moves down in the car number 56 and gives him room up on the outside.
Now Mader's a 9th place car. Right in front of him is Kenny Wallace in 8th. Then comes Grissom in 7th. And they will get the white flag this time. It was 2 laps to go last time by. And we'll watch for Harry Gant to get the flag next time by from our chief flagman.
So Wallace does move over, give him the running room that he needs. And now Steve Grissom moves to the inside of the track. I'll tell you, that was a gentlemanly move on both of those drivers' part to move over while they were racing position and let the front runners go by. That was great.
Harry Gant coming out of turn 4, trying to hold off the car number 22, and Gant takes the checkered flag here at Dover, Delaware. Harry Gant and the Ed Whitaker crew celebrating there in the pits. Ed Whitaker has finally gotten a victory at the Monster Mile, and there's the happy Harry Gant getting saluted with a big wave from Rick Mass. We'll talk to Harry when we come back. SplitFire 200 is history. Here's our Sears Road Handler Winner's Circle interview with Benny Parsons.
Harry Gant's 2nd Busch Grand National victory of the year.
Yeah, it was getting about time. You know, we run a bunch of seconds in Ed Whitaker's Skull Bandit Buick, but this time Jim Ruggers had us a good engine today, and this car was set up perfect. Boy, I'm telling you, I just kind of took it easy all day to right there at the last, and when I changed tires, I was a little bit looser, but I couldn't go any quicker. If I did, I wasn't going to make them 40 laps. So I just watched Rick. I said, is he playing possum or is he going to pass me? And I just kept running what I could run, and he didn't seem to be making a move either way. And then at the last, I ran hard, but I was in traffic, so I really still didn't get away from him.
Well, Harry Gant, it was a great race. Congratulations.
Thank you, Benny. And I just got to say thanks to the Ed Whitaker team, the Skull Buick, and, you know, Detroit Gasket and Starvin Marvin. You know, we're just tickled to have all these sponsors on the car, and it will be back next year. And Ruggles keeps punching these good V6s in here. We'll be in business.
Harry Gant led 152 of 200 laps to take the win here at the Monster Mile. We'll be back after this and show you where the points are and who finished where. Back at Dover, Delaware, where Harry Gant had just picked up his 13th career Busch Grand National Series win, but then a great run from some young drivers.
Todd Bodine in particular finishing third in his first ever Super Speedway event. We see Jimmy Hensley coming home in 10th place. He was second in the point standing, still remains there as Chuck Bowen comes home 12th, so Hensley only able to pick up 7 points on the leader here today.
Let's take a look at those points. Of course, Chuck Bowen still leading Hensley, but now by 252 points. Steve Grissom moved to 3rd spot. Why? Because Bobby Labonte finished 37th. He will drop back to 4th. And Kenny Wallace enters the top 5 on the strength of an 8th place finish here. After 8 tries, that crew there, the Skull Bandit crew, gets to put a car in victory lane. 50-year-old Harry Gant picking up his 2nd win of the year. For Benny Parsons in the pits and Ned Jarrett in the booth, I'm Jerry Punch saying so long from Dover.